So this was the final sell for WWE before WrestleMania. This was the Raw before WrestleMania. And to be honest here, I am not really a big fan of the mid-April start time for WrestleMania. I think, going into WrestleMania, some of these feuds, especially like let's say CM Punk and Roman Reigns, I feel like some of these feuds they have dragged on in a sense because like had WrestleMania been maybe 2 weeks ago, this feud would have been like at the apex of what they could have done. Like tonight wasn't a bad show. Tonight wasn't really a good show. It was just kind of in the middle, which is kind of a little, I wouldn't say counterproductive, but it's something that, for your go home episode of SmackDown, of Raw, whatever the case is, like you want to have the people invested into your program to want to buy a ticket for WrestleMania or want to even, buy the show on ESPN. No juice left as far as the builds here, as far as like, let's say Seth Rollins and Gunther, Roman Reigns and CM Punk, Obafemi and Brock Lesnar. We had supposedly a contract signing between both men, but they were gonna do this separated. So you had Brock come out there, he immediately signed. Then you had Obafemi come out there and cut a passionate promo on Brock Lesnar. We've speculated so many times in the past as far as Brock Lesnar and Obafemi, and this is the actual one storyline feud going into WrestleMania that they managed to not fuck up. Like they haven't fucked this up in the least. Now, you could point towards things as such as like, is Brock Lesnar going to go over because he hasn't stood tall over Obafemi? He hasn't looked dominant over Obafemi. Is that something to consider as we head into WrestleMania? Now, this is going to be on ESPN. I don't know whether it's going to be on ESPN2, ESPN, the main channel. I don't really know. But I know that it's going to be featured heavily on ESPN. So, to me, I think, like I mentioned before, this is the perfect scenario to make a star with Obafemi. The crowd is obviously into him. The crowd obviously loves Obafemi. They want to see Obafemi get the win here. And I think, it would be such a crime if you went in there and you had Brock Lesnar go over simply for the fact of you want to have him look strong as he faces Gunther at SummerSlam or whoever he faces at SummerSlam. Like, I don't think Brock Lesnar necessarily needs a win here, especially when you had Brock Lesnar decimate John Cena at WrestlePalooza. Now, John Cena mentioned something as far as like, hey, this match was made to build back up Brock Lesnar. Now, what do you do with a built up Brock Lesnar? You feed him to Obafemi. We also, like I mentioned before, we had Seth Rollins and Gunther. This was very much like a little bit was added here as far as the story here. They made mention of Paul Heyman and the alliance between him and Gunther. Gunther just said, flat out that, yeah, that is part of it, but also he despises Seth Rollins for, in a sense, not going after true competition when he was a World Heavyweight Champion. Like, he essentially despises Seth Rollins for the joke that he is, and he wants to put an end to that. And so it was kind of straightforward, simple there. Again, not much to build off of that, but I think the match is going to be excellent. We also had Liv Morgan and Stephanie McMahon. One thing that I have enjoyed between these two women is, like I mentioned before, there's not much of a story here in a sense. Like, there's not some deep, intricate story between these two women. It's more of the fact of it's on site between these two women. Like, whenever they see each other, they are extremely fucking ready to go at each other. Yeah, obviously you guys saw the clip of last week where Stephanie pushed Liv into Roxanne, which was fucking gnarly. Tonight we had a crazed Liv Morgan. As far as CM Punk and Roman Reigns, tonight I kind of left the segment that they had in ring with the feeling of that was it, because I don't know really what I was expecting, because there's only so much that you can do with this, and I feel like they've already kind of exhausted all of their options. Like, they had that great promo that first week, and now that the whole feud and the whole build-up has concluded, now we can kind of judge this based off of what we've seen. That first promo that they had together was their best promo together, and then afterwards it kind of just slowly declined into what we have now. Now, this wasn't a bad promo by sense, but it definitely just left me feeling like a feeling of like, hey, that's it. And they kind of ended the show abruptly with Roman Reigns delivering one final line to CM Punk. Roman Reigns also acknowledged somewhat in this opening promo that they aired before the show. He acknowledged the fact of Pat McAfee and what's going on with Pat over on SmackDown. He made mention of like, hey, a punter would have never said those things to me, would have never done those things to me, referring to Cody Rhodes. There's a lot of rumors as far as Pat McAfee and what his potential involvement could be, if there is some, between the Punk and Roman match, which dear God, I hope that isn't the case, because the less Pat McAfee we see on WrestleMania, the better. And those are my thoughts as far as the major angles that we saw here tonight on Monday Night Raw. Again, WrestleMania is just a few days away. They could have done some things here or there to excite you a little bit more. Personally, like if I was booking this show, we would have had some other things occur, especially with the CM Punk Roman Reigns stuff. I kind of felt like that was a little flat at the end. But let me know your thoughts down below, what your thoughts are as far as Monday Night Raw and as far as WrestleMania. Let me know down below. And until next time, I will see all of you on the next one.